So for this segment, I want to talk about Baby Gronk. It's not often that I would make a whole entire podcast segment about a 10-year-old kid, but when you have accumulated as many followers and as much talk in the NFL community as Baby Gronk has, you kind of deserve at least your own segment. And I'm sure people are going to share their opinions about this all week. There's a lot of stuff going on right now with Baby Gronk. He recently just did a visit to LSU. Got a special visit from Livy Dunn, which, that alone is probably more than I've accomplished in my entire life. And I promise this is not spoken from a place of jealousy, but I did want to give my 2 cents because that's pretty much all I have in my savings account on the situation, kind of give you guys my thoughts, and then I want to hear what your guys' thoughts are, obviously, in the comments down below. So this whole Baby Gronk thing, right? We've seen over the past few years kids who become super famous, get a big online following, everything like that, flexing and posting their highlights and doing all that as kids. I mean, with the social media age, this is only going to get more and more prevalent. I remember Bunchy a few years ago. That kid, they actually ended up having him at the Super Bowl. To me, this is a very similar situation with Baby Gronk. Now, Baby Gronk is 10 years old, and he is all over. I mean, his TikToks get hundreds of thousands of views. I think they said he's got almost 300K followers on Instagram or something. Something crazy like that. Just ridiculous numbers for a 10-year-old. And I just want to kind of talk about the situation and the possible effects I think that could consist of it. So I'm going to start this video with a preference by saying that I do not know Baby Gronk. I don't know his intentions. I don't know his dad's intentions. His dad seems to be the guy, running everything. I don't know his dad's intentions. I don't know what's in the heart of these people. So everything I say is just pure speculation, and it's not gospel truth, right? Don't take what I say as fact. Do your own research. Come to your own conclusions. I'm just giving what I think, right? So, in doing some research about this Baby Gronk kid, like I just mentioned, the dad seems to be the marketing genius behind it all. He did an interview where he just said, hey, like, I do marketing, I know how to market people, and he also mentioned that he has a lot of connections with high school teammates that coach in the Power Five or that went to the NFL. He knows NFL guys, he knows this guy, a lot of that guy. So the dad's well connected. The dad, has a plan. He knows what he's doing, right? He's a good marketer, right? So I want to talk about why I think that this is a bit concerning for me with Baby Gronk. To be such a young kid and to have so many fans, followers, watchers of your life so early on, I think is a very dangerous thing. Now that kind of harpoons back to a lot of the things that go wrong with child actors, where the pressure and the fans and everything like that, it gets too much and they end up being depressed or anxious or getting into drugs or alcohol. And obviously that I don't want any of that to happen to this kid. But I always worry about that with a kid who sees so much fame like Baby Gronk is seeing right now. So that's issue number one that I have. Issue number two, because kids, they're not mentally there yet. You know what I mean? Like, it's different if I, as a 20-year-old, got rich and famous, please. And, my brain is more developed. I'm more of a man. I can think more logically. My emotional intelligence is much higher than a 10-year-old kid, obviously, right? And even though we might read at the same reading level, we do have varying levels of maturation because of puberty and because of our brains, everything like that. You guys know that. Another thing that I worry about is the dad. And the dad gives me a weird feeling because in doing some research for this, discussion, I came across a few things that he said that kind of raised some red flags for me. The first thing was that he talked about how, in high school, he kind of got hurt and was never able to have the career that he would have had had he not gotten hurt. And it almost seems to me like he's living vicariously through his son. And that is always a dangerous thing in the parent-child dynamic when the parents is making the kid live out the dream. Now, I don't know if Baby Gronk is in love with the sport. That's not my place to say. That's between him and his dad. But if there ever becomes a point where Baby Gronk isn't 100% into it and the dad keeps pushing it, I think that's a very dangerous thing. And I think that that's something that we really need to watch out for, right? And Baby Gronk might feel pressured to continue playing even if he doesn't really want to. Now, this reminds me of a very prevalent story in the NFL. This guy named Todd Maranovich, correct me in the comments if I said that name wrong, but basically the story is that this kid was a quarterback, and he was groomed since day one by his dad to be the, like, robo QB. Like, he was training since he was young. He was eating high protein meals. He was on an exercise plan. He was doing this. He was seeing quarterback specialists when he was like 6 years old. All of these things, right? He was going to be the perfect quarterback. And he ended up, his dad was his coach in high school. He ended up going to USC. He ended up, being a party kid. He was a 5-star recruit. I won't necessarily say he disappointed at USC because he did have some good moments, but there were some red flags that, like, hey, this kid is like not totally all into football. There were reports that he liked to party and he liked to go drinking and he liked to do artsy stuff. All totally normal things for a college student, by the way. But the pressure of being the perfect quarterback to appease his dad, I think, got to him, right? And when he went to the NFL, not only was he not performing on the field, but he had a lot of issues off the field because of this. And there were a lot of, I think, dynamics at play there with him not being the quarterback that his father envisioned and him really not having his heart in football anymore. And that's kind of a sad story, to be completely honest with you. And I do not want that faith for Baby Gronk. I Again, I don't know the intentions of anybody involved. I would love to know that he has a nice, caring father that would support him no matter what. I hope that's the case. I don't know. But I just don't want to see a repeat of that story. Um, the other thing with Baby Gronk is I think that we need to stop. We need to stop hyping up these kids so much. I mean, he's 10. You know what I mean? Um, to say that he's gonna, get a college scholarship at 10 years old is ridiculous. Um, for so many reasons. But I see him all over Instagram posing with all these different schools and taking these visits. And a lot of that's probably just media, mumbo jumbo. It's probably not anything satirical. But I do worry that if he, maybe his body grew before the rest of the 10-year-olds. I mean, I played with this kid when we were 10, and he grew up faster than any of us. He was the biggest, strongest, tallest, everything. He was our running back. We just handed him the ball, and he would carry it 60 yards to the house. And then we got to, our sophomore year of high school, and he probably gained 2 pounds and didn't grow an inch. You know what I mean? So some kids just hit a growth spurt. Some kids hit their athletic spurt early. And I don't want him to feel like a failure if he's not, that same level guy in high school. Additionally, his father talked about the nutrition plan and the exercise plan and the training programs and all that. And part of me is just like, man, just let the kid be a kid, man. Take him to McDonald's. Let him go and eat donuts. You know what I mean? Like, there's something very precious about youth, and there's something very innocent about being a child that you don't have the responsibilities of an adult. And it's one of the very few times in your life where you can do pretty much whatever you want and not have repercussions. And I'm not saying let the kid, drink soda for breakfast. I'm just saying let the kid have fun. And I worry that sometimes when the kids are on such a strict schedule, it doesn't leave for any fun. And it's just work, 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 work. Let the kid be a kid, you know what I mean? And again, I am not speaking as pure fact. I'm just stating my concerns about Baby Gronk. Again, I think the virality of a 10-year-old is something very concerning if we've learned anything from these young Disney stars. I mean, the next thing you know, he could be doing cocaine, on the set of Camp Rock, just like Demi Lovato was. So I just don't know. But I just worry about Baby Gronk. I think that if all of these concerns are addressed and at worst, he is a viral 10-year-old playing football, I have no issues with it. I have no issues with Baby Gronk being viral. These are just some of the problems I think could arise from him. But one thing I do think is a very positive thing that I read that actually made me very happy was obviously, Baby Gronk's accumulating a lot of revenue from his social media presence, right? I read today that he had like a $6.8 million NIL evaluation, which is fucking crazy. Good for him. But one thing I did read that his parents are doing is that they're taking the money, at least the majority of it, and they're putting it into his savings account and not touching it for a while. And hey, if this kid is financially set for the rest of his life because he was viral as a 10-year-old, good for them. Get your money, save it. Again, assuming the worst that he, never plays football again, he can probably still go to whatever school he wants because of all that money. He'll be set financially. I mean, good for them for saving that money. That is lovely. But yeah, I just want to talk about Baby Gronk. Get your guys' opinions on it. No, I'm not salty that he pulled Livy Dunn. Absolutely not. Why would you say that? Don't tell my girlfriend. Anyway, but yeah, no, I just wanted to talk about Baby Gronk and just get something off my chest. You know what I mean? So let me know what your guys' opinions are in the comments down below. I'm actually very interested to hear what you guys have to say. In no way is this meant to be hate towards Baby Gronk or his family, or I'm not trying to put down a 10-year-old kid. Because trust me, if I wanted to go beef with a 10-year-old, I would walk to the elementary school that I live right around the corner of, and I would just walk into my fifth grade teacher's class and just run some of these kids' face. I'm not going to do that. But yeah, I just want to talk about Baby Gronk and see what you guys were saying. But yeah, that's pretty much it.